Hey gang, what's going on? So week 10's in the books. We have 2 more weeks left of the regular season, and it's coming down to that time where the conferences will have their championship games, and we will determine who goes to the college football playoffs. But before I get into the week 10 recap, if you could hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons, that'd be greatly appreciated. It's very helpful for the channel. It gives me great feedback on what you think of the content, as well as I don't want you to miss out on a single thing that I put out. Any breaking news in college football will be brought here, and I don't want you to miss out. So please do hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell. Let's get into it. So, in our first game, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes who visited Rutgers and got the win 35-16. Ohio State improves to 9-0 in the year, 6-0 versus the Big Ten, while Rutgers drops to 6-3 in the year and 3-3 against the Big Ten. With that 9th win, Ohio State does clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship, so that is a big deal. And the winner of the Michigan game will also determine who, if Michigan gets into that as well. So Ohio State gets the win and improves to 9-0. And coming in next, we've got Missouri playing Georgia at home, or I should say Missouri's on the road for this game, and Georgia wins 30-21 in a nice home win, moving Missouri to 7-2 on the year and 3-2 against the SEC, while Georgia moves to 9-0 on the year and 6-0 versus SEC teams. So Georgia also clinches a spot in the SEC championship, which is going to be a very exciting one to see who they play. Moving on to the next game, which was Michigan versus Purdue, and Michigan was at home and blew out Purdue. It was much expected. The heavily favored Wolverines got the 41-13 win over Purdue, dropping Purdue to 2-7 on the year and 1-5 against the Big Ten, while Michigan goes to 9-0 on the year and 6-0 against the Big Ten. That being said, Michigan will be playing Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So that matchup is set, and Michigan goes to face their rivals in the Big Ten championship game again, and that will be a very interesting game to see how Michigan does against Ohio State. Coming in at our next game, we had the Florida State Seminoles visiting the Pittsburgh Panthers. Florida State played very rocky in the first half, and then they stepped it up and started to play like they've played all year, which was very consistent, strong football. And they ended up getting the win 24-7. So they moved to 9-0 on the year and 7-0 versus the ACC, while Pittsburgh drops to 2-7 on the year and 1-4 against the ACC. So with Florida State's win for the first time since 2014, the Seminoles clinch a spot in the ACC championship game. Their opponent is TBD. We will find out who that is possibly this week or next week. With our next game, we have the Washington Huskies visiting the USC Trojans, where Washington just barely got out with the win, 52-42. Very high-scoring game. Washington did not play its best game defensively, but they did walk out with the win. So they go to 9-0 on the year and 6-0 against the Pac-12. while USC drops to 7-3 on the year and 5-2 against the Pac-12. With Washington's win, they clinch a spot in the Pac-12 championship. Coming in next, we have the Golden Bears of California visiting the Ducks of Oregon. Oregon ran right through them as expected. The final of that game was 63-19, with California going to 3-6 on the year and 1-5 versus the Pac-12, while Oregon improves to 8-1 on the year and 5-1 against the Pac-12. Coming in on our next game was a game between two Big 12 heavyweights, Kansas State and Texas. Texas gets the win barely. It took them into overtime for them to get the win, but they got the win nonetheless. They won 33-30. Very sloppy game all around on Texas' part. Did not do a good job at all of controlling the football and getting Kansas State put away. So good job on Kansas State, even though they got the L in this game. But anyways, Kansas State goes to 6-3 on the year, 4-2 versus the Big 12, while Texas moves to 8-1 on the year and 5-1 against the Big 12. Coming in our next game, we have Alabama versus LSU. LSU was visiting Tuscaloosa and lost 42-28. So a much different result than what I thought, but good job on Alabama for taking care of business. LSU drops to 6-3 on the year while going 4-2 against the SEC, while Alabama is 8-1 on the year and 6-0 versus the SEC Conference. Coming in our next game, this was upset number 1 of the week. Oklahoma was ranked 9th, and they visited the number 22 Oklahoma State Cowboys, and the Cowboys get the win, 27-24. So that drops Oklahoma to 7-2 on the year and 4-2 against Big 12 teams, while Oklahoma State improves to 7-2 and 5-1 against Big 12 teams. Coming in our next game was between the Aggies and the Rebels. Rebels barely got out of this game with a win, and this game was played at Ole Miss. Final score was 38-35. Ole Miss gets the win, dropping A&M to 5-4 on the year and 3-3 versus the SEC, while the Ole Miss Rebels improved to 8-1 on the year and 5-1 against the SEC. Coming in next is between Penn State and Maryland. Penn State wins big at Maryland, 51-15, so they go to 8-1 on the year and 5-1 against Big Ten teams. Well, Maryland drops to 5-4 on the year and 2-4 against Big Ten teams. And the next game, we've got Louisville versus Virginia Tech, where Louisville was at home and came out with the win, 34-3. So Virginia Tech drops to 4-5 on the year and 3-2 against the ACC, while Louisville improves to 8-1 on the year and 5-1 against the SEC, or the ACC, excuse me. So 5-1 against the ACC, while 8-1 on the year. This was upset number 2. This I thought was going to be an upset, and it happened to be one. Clemson was at home at Death Valley against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame loses this game 31-23. They drop to 7-3 on the year while being 2-2 on the road, while Clemson improves to 5-4 on the year and 4-1 at home. So nice win for Clemson, and a great way to make a statement to try to spoil Notre Dame's chances of getting a good bowl game. So good job on Clemson's part. Coming in next game, we've got Oregon State versus the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado was at home. They've been playing very streaky all year, very inconsistent, and it showed again. Oregon State gets the win 26-19, and they improved to 7-2 on the year, while they also improved to 4-2 against the Pac-12. While Colorado drops to 4-5 on the year and 1-5 versus the Pac-12. Coming in on our next game, we have the UConn Huskies going up against the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee routed UConn 59-3. UConn drops to 1-8 on the year and 1-3 on the road, while Tennessee improves to 7-2 on the year and 5-0 on the road, or 5-0 at home. Excuse me. UConn is 1-3 on the road. Tennessee's 5-0 at home. Coming in at the next game, we've got the Arizona State Sun Devils versus the Utah Utes at Utah, where Utah ran away with the game 55-3. Arizona State drops to 2-7 on the year, 1-5 versus the Pac-12, while Utah is 7-2 on the year and 4-2 against the Pac-12. Coming in next, we had UCLA getting upset in this game at number 19 against the unranked Arizona Wildcats. Arizona wins this game at home 27-10 over the number 19 UCLA Bruins, dropping them to 6-3 on the year and 3-3 versus the Pac-12, while Arizona improves to 6-3 on the year and 4-2 against the Pac-12. So a nice win for Arizona, and good job on getting it done at home. In our next game, we have Kansas going up against Iowa State at Iowa State. The Cyclones lose by a touchdown, 28-21. So Kansas improves to 7-2 on the year, 4-2 against the Pac-12, or the Big 12, while Iowa State drops to 5-4 on the year and 4-2 against the Big 12. So Kansas gets the job done and gets the W. The Tulane Green Wave were visiting the East Carolina Pirates, where the Green Wave got a 3-point win, 13-10. So they improved to 8-1 on the year and 5-0 against the American Conference, while East Carolina drops to 1-8 on the year and 0-5 against the American Conference. And then in the last game, we had Air Force going up against Army, where I believe Air Force was the home team on this game, but Air Force gets upset by the Black Knights 23-3. So a very nice win for Army, and Army goes into that game, and it was at Air Force. So Air Force was ranked 25th, so Army improves to 3-6 on the year, while Air Force drops to 8-1 on the year. So that is a wrap for week 10. And to me, the most surprising had to be the Oklahoma loss. That really hurts them, and it really hurts their chances. They were this close, but couldn't get it done. Let me know in the comments what you think of this week's matchups and which was the most surprising. Until next time, guys, have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to you later.